Muscombe History Group channel, continuing our short history of management in the 20th century with part 3, Meanwhile, back in Japan. So what might Pearl Harbor have caused to happen? That's the story of part 3. Scientific management has gone through organization and methods. Then came the behaviorists. Then came objectives management and competition theory. But meanwhile, we must go back to the 1940s, and it's something to do with the war. During the war, a parallel approach is born. A group of young graduates in the 1940s were missing military service because they were organizing and training women to do men's work in the vital war industries where men had gone to fight. In shipyards, aircraft factories, railways, munitions factories, and in all the key industries, the graduates were all specialists in some branch or other of scientific management. They were training women in skills they do not possess to do jobs for which they were thought unsuited. The we can do it mentality is born. Setting up work that the real Rosie the Riveters and Wendy the Welders can do to keep industry working. By 1945, the Rosies and Wendys could build a bomber in a day, could build a ship in a week, and could turn out a tank every hour. And this massive output allowed the Allies to overpower Germany and then Japan. When Japan surrendered, the US decided it didn't want to repeat the multinational problems that occurred in Germany, and the USA became the only occupying force in Japan. Japan became in effect the personal fiefdom of 5-star General Douglas MacArthur, who acted like the shogun of old Japan. And he requires that some of the bright young men bring their experiences to help rebuild Japan. Young men in their 20s and 30s going to Japan to teach what they had learned at Lockheed, Boeing, Curtiss, Springfield Arsenal, Pensacola shipyards et al. About something called Total Quality Assurance, TQA. The Japanese are eager to learn because their industry has been totally destroyed. The American men come back from the war, took their jobs back from the women, and returned to the way we do things around here. The USA lost an opportunity for industry to forge ahead, and instead began to heavily invest in the so-called losers. These men are number crunchers, statistics and total quality management. Total quality pioneers include Edward Deming, Joseph Juran, Armand Felgenbaum, Philip Crosby, and on the Japanese side, Genichi Taguchi Kaoru Ishikawa and Shingio Shingo. The Americans and Japanese together pioneered new techniques and management practices that became known in Europe and the USA as Japanese Total Quality Management, Kaisen. Incorporate the growth cycle into the work tasks and you get a happy workforce. Whilst Western manufacturers smooth the flow of their assembly lines, Japanese manufacturers prefer cell assembly. The assembly line is made up of a series of stations passing the product from one to another, with the product emerging from the end of the line. Each station feeds in component parts, stocks, people and machinery as appropriate to move the product along. But if one of the stations for some reason fails, then all the stations downline are affected and eventually the product will stop flowing. When this happens, the line might as well be closed down. In an assembly cell, the stations are grouped around the cell, but sometimes they can be hundreds of miles away with appropriate logistic and communication channels. The production takes place in the assembly cell and the product flows out to market. Each station is serviced by JIT Kanban supplies. If one of the stations should run into trouble, this is not a major problem. Production continues and is quarantined until the problem is rectified. Then production can continue as normal. Shingio Shingo developed JIT Kanban supplies so that production cells worked efficiently. JIT Kanban is a just-in-time ticket for any supplies and commodities that are required at the station. Lean manufacturing means single-minute exchange of dies and single-minute inventory control. Here, a single minute refers to a single digit. In other words, less than 10 minutes to carry out the job. Shingio actually achieved this in the Toyota factory for several years, where every part of the job took no more than 10 minutes to set up. Pokiyoki is a technique of mistake proofing that makes sure that mistakes occur positively and do not damage the product, while Six Sigma is a statistical management in pursuit of excellence. Genichi Taguchi then produced the 5 steps for on-site quality assurance. His approach included quality circles, where operatives from the line were taken out to work together in quality circles on project issues. Design criteria for systems, measurement, and tolerances were all considered by the quality circles. The quality circle would then look at all the problems and the effect of those problems downline, and would produce standard operating procedures to deal with every aspect of the problem. These standard operating procedures were produced by the workforce themselves, so they were committed to their use. Kaoru Ishikawa is best known for his fish bones. For a man who wrote a mountain of management text, it's surprising that he's remembered for a fishbone. 5 M's, 8 P's and 4 S's. The 5 M's are machines, methods, materials, manpower and measurement. The 8 P's are product, price, promotion, place, process, people, physical evidence and performance. And the 4 S's are surroundings, suppliers, systems and skills. Analysis of these areas will build up a diagram of causes and effects. And finding the key issues of the product is the purpose of these diagrams. William Uchi is a naturalized American whose family had been interned at the beginning of World War II as Japanese aliens. He merges the Japanese and American styles of management, organization, and motivation by coming up with Theory Z, or perhaps it should be Theory Z. William Uchi remembers that in Theory X, the ability to control is coercive, controlling, and threatening. In Theory Y, the ability to control is self-direction and self-control, but in his Theory Z, the ability to control is implicit control by loyalty to the team. Theory Z is cell manufacturing. And the Americans and some Europeans said, "Ha ha, we think Uchi has got it," whatever it was. But Uchi is really describing the state of post-war Japan and recommending some specific Japanese improvement techniques, such as Taguchi's 5 steps, Ishikawa's fishbones, Shingo's JIT Kanban, Pokeyoke, quality circles, total quality inventory, and TQA 6 Sigma. Cell-centered is the Japanese management style. What TQA and Theory Z really represents is timetabled involvement for all employees, management and workforce to engage in process work. With programmed opportunities to take time out to project manage their process improvement. Total quality assurance is achieved by the statistical management of Six Sigma. All the cell assembly techniques group together to achieve near perfect manufacturing and service deliverables of Six Sigma. Six Sigma means only one failure in 1 million units. If we plot the quality performance of any given product, we will usually find that it comes out as a normal distribution, with poor quality at one end, excellent quality at the other, and the bulk of manufacture fitting into the OK performance area. In the middle of the normal distribution is the mean, the mode, or the average. One standard deviation, 1 sigma, can be calculated either side of this average, and it captures 68.27% of total performance. This would usually be considered as okay. 68.27% is okay. 1 sigma. One standard deviation either side of the norm gives us 1 sigma, and this captures 68.27% of total performance. This can be described as okay. 1 sigma. Below this, the product is not really fit for purpose. Above it, the product is too expensive for the market. If we continue to calculate standard deviations, we can move from 1 sigma to 2 sigma to 3 sigma to 4 sigma to 5 sigma, and then finally 6 sigma captures 99.999% of total performance. What we now try to do is to bring 1 standard deviation into a range of product that previously was 6 sigma standard deviations. The aim of 6 sigma is to bring 6 standard deviations of performance into 1 standard deviation from the norm. Six sigma in the OK performance range. That's 99.999%, 1 failure in 1 million performances. Six Sigma total quality assurance equals 1 failure in every million product. It is achieved by black belt Six Sigma working cells. Then the group can pursue excellence by moving their Six Sigma performance up the graph into an excellent performance area. So, with the demise of the Soviet Union, capitalism seems to rule the world. But capitalism tends to favor Theory X. In a capitalist world, growth is still the secret of effective performance. Positive cash flow, leading to annual profits, leading to achievement of profitability for the business, which then releases surplus cash that can be put into asset growth. Asset growth can occur organically or by acquisition. Organic growth is simply to expand on what we have. Acquisition is when one small company attacks another small company and digests it. Organic growth by effective expansion, and acquisitional growth leading to efficiency reductions. When two companies are absorbed into one, there is naturally going to be a certain amount of surplus requirement. Two similar companies will have assets to be stripped, sold on to associates, duplications to be cut out, and these things can form a smaller new contraction. Assets have now been stripped, sold to associates in the market, duplication has been taken out to create a smaller, leaner, fitter organization. Ideally, the efficiencies will pay for the original acquisition. And the new efficient organization can contemplate further acquisitions and mergers. So in the modern age, mergers create larger, more effective, more efficient, more competitive, better commercial units. And they can create opportunities for technological synergies. But mergers tend to lose sight of the workforce. What history shows us is that sometimes a large organization can be slow to adapt to change. But that's another story. In part 4, we will simply check out some of the 21st century's great minds and gurus of modern management. Goodbye for now.